Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Monday, June 7th, and I just witnessed one of the best sporting events in the last 5 years of my life last night. And these are my hater blockers for all the Mexican fans and the people that don't like soccer. You're an idiot. Last night is why you watch, and we'll talk about that more later. But I'm going to take the sunglasses off now because they're really reflecting in my face. Shady Rays, they had a nice sale this weekend. They're actually really good if you want them. They're cheap sunglasses. I lose all my sunglasses, and if you lose them, we'll break them. They'll send you a new one. But all you have to do is pay for shipping.
Oh, wait,
and the other thing I want to plug is my Rogue nicotine pouches. They've been giving me free stuff, so I like them.
What was the sunglasses? What was the glasses brand?
Shady Rays.
I use them all the time. They're honestly the best. I love them. I love them. These are Shady Rays.
I all of my glasses, like the blue light glasses, are Shady Rays. I have three pairs of sunglasses. It's like, I lost both of them last year, and I paid $16 to get them back, and they shipped it for free. So
yeah, you just pay for shipping and handling, and they're amazing. I love Shady Rays. Dude, I'm a VIP too on their site. I love them.
It's awesome. I love their site. But yeah, they had a big sale this weekend. So but we have a lot to talk about today. So Tom, how was vacation / working?
I haven't had a day off since other than Thursday the 3rd, which is my brother's graduation. I haven't had a day off since the turn of the month though. So it's good to just get some time to sit down here and talk about some sports. How have you been? Yeah,
I've been pretty good. It's getting too hot, like we talked about at the beginning. It's just getting too hot and humid, and it just makes me want to go back to Alaska and live in the snow. All right, so getting today in sports history. Obviously, we're going to talk about the U.S.-Mexico game. We'll get into that a little later. I have a lot to say about that. Not much in the MLB. Obviously, the NBA playoffs have been crazy. We'll talk about that. And then, obviously, I'm sure because all of you are avid watchers and listeners, you know that Tom predicted Julio to the Titans. We'll talk about that. I saw some interesting things on it was Get Up or one of those ESPN shows. Just some interesting takes from some of the guys about the Titans. But so we'll get into it. But now we start out with today in sports history. In 1932, at age 47, Brooklyn pitcher Jack Quinn becomes the oldest player in MLB history to record an extra base hit. He hit a double as the Dodgers beat Chicago Cubs 9-2. That's pretty awesome. The only old player I can remember, I remember playing into his 40s. I think Ichiro played one season when he was 40, and then I think Moises Alou played till he was 45. I'm not even kidding. And he was, he didn't play he probably retired in the early 2000s, but I remember him. He played forever, but you just don't see that anymore at all, really. But also today is Anna Kournikov's 40th birthday. I don't know what she's been doing for the last 25 years, but she was hot when she played tennis, so that's about it.
Nice.
All right. First, we'll get into some good news for you, Tom, especially. We'll talk about the MLB, and I mean, I don't even want to talk about the Cleveland baseball team. They're so bad. It's unbelievable. They got beat 18-5 by the Orioles yesterday, and they were getting no hit again through 6th. So I'm not talking about them. I hope Larry, whatever the Dolans, they need to get out of my town. I hate them so much. I hated their kid. Get out of my life. But we will talk about the Mets because I'm a pseudo kind of Mets fan, even though I really haven't watched baseball at all. There's been too much going on. But this is kind of joking, and I kind of wrote it like that, but Jacob deGrom might be the best pitcher ever. I mean, he's got to be the best. He's got to be the best pitcher since Pedro, I would think. I mean,
I don't know. Verlander is definitely up there too. How many no-nos has he threw?
But I mean, it's unprecedented from deGrom because he gets so little run support. Basically, I feel bad for him because that's how Indians pitchers feel every single year. But I mean, I don't have his stats, but I mean, his ER through this year, his numbers are better than basically anyone in the history of baseball. He has an under 1 ERA. He's just incredible, and I that really sucks that Syndergaard went down this year because I like Syndergaard a lot
and Carrasco.
Yeah, I mean, well, Carrasco, he's a guy, and you would have seen it in the postseason. You don't want him pitching in the postseason.
That's why we have
But
DeGrom and Syndergaard and Stroman.
yeah, I mean, go if you guys went into the playoffs, say Syndergaard was healthy with the starting rotation of Stroman, DeGrom, and Syndergaard,
Syndergaard and have him
and
be our
even
4. I mean, it would be okay. It's
yeah,
one game. It's not
but
like he's
even
our
without
ace.
yeah, even without Syndergaard though, I mean, just knowing that you have to score only one run basically to win a game when DeGrom pitches, it's great, and I hope that they do well. And I saw recently for the Mets. Go ahead.
I have his stats if you want to hear him.
Oh yeah, read them off. Yeah, absolutely.
He's got a .62 ERA as of right now, with 93 strikeouts across 58 innings pitched.
It's insane.
He's almost averaging 2 strikeouts an inning. And I haven't even pulled up his batting stats. He's batting like .450. The man literally is doing everything.
He's incredible, and this is also good for you. And I think I may have told you this, maybe I'm not, about Lindor. He always starts off slow. He's a second half guy, and he's never going to be that huge bat that comes up and blasts home runs. He's a contact hitter, and he can hit for power when he wants to. And he's heating up. That's huge for you guys, I think. I mean, because when Lindor's at the top of his game, I don't think there's only Fernando Tatis Jr. is the only shortstop I'll say that is better than him. Or more valuable, I guess I'd say, because Lindor's glove is also amazing. I mean,
having him be that kind of contact guy to get on base is exactly what the Mets needed, because between Alonso and Dom Smith is like that guy from Major League who can't hit the curveball, but he like blasts the fastball.
Yeah.
He's that kind of guy. He's going to strike out or he's going to hit a home run. There's no in between with Dom Smith. So it's good to have a guy like that to kind of counterbalance the bigger bats that they have later in the lineup, and that's exactly what the Mets needed.
Yeah, isn't Alonso not having a great year, though?
He's been hurt a lot. But when he does play, he's not 100%, and he's not doing well. So
and this is the same thing when the Indians. I hope the Mets make the playoffs. I hope they make a run. I hope they don't flop, just absolutely shoot themselves in the foot if they get to the World Series again and not be able to field any ball. But it's so hard when, I mean, even in the National League, like, you're going to have to play probably the Dodgers at some point. You have like the best starting rotation, and then and the Cubs are really good in the NL too. So I don't know. The AL, the Indians or the baseball team could still make the playoffs. Who knows?
The Cardinals.
I can't get myself to watch a lot of baseball right now with everything else that's going on. But speaking of baseball, the USA Olympic team, who features, I think the only name I saw was like Todd Frazier, and I don't even know if it was him. They did qualify for the Olympics, which is more than the U.S. soccer team could say. But Yikes. We'll talk about that later. So good for them. I got to tell you, out of all the Olympic events, I'm not going to be watching baseball. Like,
I could go watch baseball with better players anytime during the Olympics.
And it's like I'd rather watch like 1,700-meter dash races than a full baseball game in the Olympics. So, but yeah, so I mean that's good. Also, kind of speaking of baseball, I do want to get a quick shout out. My brother went to James Madison. The JMU softball team made it to the Women's College World Series, and in their first game, they played Oklahoma. And the Women's College World Series is in Oklahoma. It's not in Nebraska like the Men's College World Series is. So they played Oklahoma in the first game. Oklahoma, I believe, is 82-17, as an 82-17 record over the past 2 years. They beat Oklahoma in one of the if you ask about like the softball media, they would say it's probably the biggest upset in the history of the sport. And then they went on to play Oklahoma State and beat them. And then so now they're in the Final Four. They have to play Oklahoma tonight again for that's an elimination game. And then the chick from Alabama threw a perfect game. I was telling my brother, it's like, it's kind of sucked to be JMU right now. Like, you are the Cinderella story, whatever. And every ESPN article is about the Montana Fouts, the pitcher who pitched a perfect game. So they play Florida State in an elimination game. And then, which I didn't know, I thought, well, I guess it makes sense kind of. But so the winner of both those will play a 3-game series the rest of the week, which is cool. But yeah, definitely check them out. Their pitcher, her name is Odyssey something. She's incredible. She's made a ton of great plays. And I got to tell you, I never thought I would ever watch a softball game. The JMU game just started at 4, and I can tell you probably right after we're done this, I'm probably going to go watch it. So, and I also kind of think baseball or softball is kind of more exciting. There's more hitting, there's more home runs, and also I just don't get the athleticism of it because I don't understand how they're fast enough to throw anyone out at first, considering it's like 10 feet away. But whatever. So I mean, definitely check in on that, and then obviously the Men's College World Series coming in. I don't think South Carolina made it, so I don't really care. On to the next, I guess. So I guess we'll start with this one. Well, I mean, you said you haven't been watching the NBA at all? I'm always going to be a LeBron guy, but he's gotten to the point where it's a joke. I mean, it's a joke. I can't say I hate it. I can't say I hate him, but the things he does now, like I just like. So in Game 5 versus Suns, they were getting blown out. So he left and went to the locker room with 5 minutes left. Said he needed to get treatment, which you know what I can buy, but it doesn't look good. Still doesn't look good. And then they get absolutely destroyed in Game 6, lose the series. LeBron's first playoff exit, and they ask him after the game, you think about you finally have a little time off, like you think about playing for USA in the Olympics this year, and he was talking about basically he quoted, he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna be playing with Bugs Bunny and shooting Space Jam 2."
I saw that.
And now, which I didn't even like, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but the 30 for 30 on Space Jam, it's a commercial. It's horrible. Like I don't get it. I don't know why they wanted to remake it. I get LeBron's the biggest thing, but Space Jam was like a one-time hit. Like there's no way they're going to make it. Yeah, I'll watch it probably once it's free. And
once it's free, I'm not gonna go see it though.
Yeah, I just don't get it. Like, and Kyrie Irving did the same thing with like that Grandpa. He did that movie, whatever it was called. I just don't get it, guys. I mean, I know it sounds dumb, but play basketball. I'm not saying shut up and dribble, but like, just play basketball. It's okay sometimes to just tune out the things that are outside of the world and just focus for 2.5 hours on playing the game that you've loved since you were 3 years old and are making millions doing it. Like, just enjoy it. My God. Like, every NBA player seems like they're always depressed, except, and we'll go on to the series and my team, the Atlanta Hawks and Trae Young. Trae Young is really, really good. Like, I don't know what else to say about that. He's really, really good, and I love him because he like wants to be the villain, and he acts like it, and it's funny, and I love it, and he's been great. They beat the Sixers yesterday. He had 35, and the whole talking point of the NBA not lately, but it's always been since it happened, the Luka Doncic for Trae Young kind of trade on draft night, how the Mavericks fleeced them and got everything. I will say this, Trae Young has a much better supporting cast around him, especially considering they all just shoot 75% from three. It's insane. They just make every three. But, I mean, Luka was impressive in that Game 7 win, but I'm quickly fading on Luka. I'm not a fan. What do you think?
I mean, I've liked Luka since he was coming into the league, and he's been like the one like person I'll go out of my way to follow and like look at his stats and stuff. Actually, that's not true because I'll go and check out the stats. I just don't watch the games. But like Luka's the one guy that I will say like I have put more time into than any of the other players. So it kind of like sucks to keep seeing him get bounced out, but that's just the kind of the fall of being in the West, because the West is just so much better than the East. And that's how it's been for a while now. And
I think like when Dallas, I mean, it's clear Mark Cuban likes the European players. I mean, he got Dirk. Their new face of their franchise is Luka. The difference between Luka and Dirk is I feel like Dirk came to Dallas, fell in love, knew he was going to stay their entire career. Luka's going to sign a supermax this offseason. He's going to be the richest player in NBA history because, I mean, there's a new richest player in NBA history every year. His contract should run out in like 2026. So whatever, he's going to be there for a while. They don't need to worry about it, but they do need to, well, we'll get to that later, but they do need to add some pieces. But I have a feeling, I mean, they basically said on ESPN that last year is going to be a player option. And Luka, like, I wanted him to be kind of like Dirk, stay in Dallas. Luka just seems to me like a guy who's going to bolt for LA, the Clippers, the Lakers, Boston, New York. I think he came here, realized how big of a star he was, and now he wants to take. Like, it was so all funny and cute when he was like before the NBA draft, like, oh, Jennifer Aniston or whatever. Like I've never like so. I'm just not a fan of Luka. I think he's a dirty player, and I don't really think. I mean, he had I think 14 assists last night, but I don't know. I'm just not a fan of Luka.
I feel like the Luka situation is going to be more of a God. How do I want to put this? I feel like the Luka situation is going to be more of a Kawhi Leonard situation, where he just departs sort of in bad blood, but sort of not in bad blood with the team that drafted him and go to a different team. But at the same time, I could also see it going down that path where it's like he's going to leave them eventually and like just start bashing him after the fact. Like Kawhi still respects the Spurs. He loves Coach Pop. They still text all the time. He just needed to move on because it was time. And he was there for, X amount of years. I don't know off the top of my head. And I'm trying to think of another, like a Dwight Howard. Right, Dwight Howard left the Magic as soon as he could after he started getting hurt and wasn't the player that he was. He bolted to go ring chase. I don't think that's what Luka's going to do. I think Luka's going to go to a team that he could go win with, kind of like how Kawhi did.
Yeah, and also Kawhi. I mean, we all knew he was going to go to an LA team. We just didn't know which one. He's from LA, so
but he went to Toronto first and then went.
He got traded to Toronto.
Yeah, that's true.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but I mean, I'm sure there have been guys that have said it, and NBA players have said, but like, I don't see anyone like going out of their way, like I've seen in the past with guys like LeBron James or I mean, some of the like Steph Curry. That like I don't see the NBA guys just like falling in love with Luka and wanting to play with Luka, like because I feel like he is a point guard technically.
Luka, he plays the 1 through the 3.
Yeah, I mean, he brings the ball off the court every single time.
That's fair.
Right or wrong. Okay. So
kind of like LeBron, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he hogs the ball a lot. Not hogs it, but I bet his usage rate is pretty high. And I don't know, but and it sucks for Dallas because I mean they're in salary cap purgatory right now. They have Tim Hardaway Jr.'s contract to look at this summer. They have to figure out what they're going to do with Kristaps Porzingis, who I still think could be a good player. He just didn't fit in with Dallas. But so I think they have a lot of work to do. And like I said, I'm just not a fan of Luka, and I love Trae Young. And back to Trae Young, they beat the Sixers yesterday. They tried to lose. The Hawks tried to lose. They gave up a huge fourth quarter lead, but then Trae Young and John Collins put it away with an alley-oop. I think Atlanta. Before the season, the talk was like John Collins is going to be one of the guys they're going to part with in the season. He's a guy now. I don't think you can let him go. He's so into the team.
Well, he was like that when he got drafted too, and he was the cornerstone guy for them when he got drafted. He just got hurt a ton.
Yeah, so I don't think they can let him go. And I've said it, and with no Steph Curry in the playoffs, it feels like just good shooting teams are going to keep winning. And the Suns out west, I mean, what they did to LeBron, and granted AD was hurt. I think that, I mean, obviously that's a very different situation if AD isn't hurt. But then again, I also AD has, in my opinion, his play is like declined sharply since he joined the Lakers. Like he just basically forgets he's almost 7 feet tall and just wants to shoot threes. Doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, I am praying for I was praying for a Mavs Hawks finals because I wanted to see Luka and Trae Young go head to head. Now I'm praying for if either the Hawks or the Suns are in the finals, I will probably sit down and at least watch part of every game that's played. If neither one of those teams are in, I don't see myself watching a second of it. Like I don't care about the Clippers, it's whatever.
So the Clippers were the ones that bounced out the Mavs, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Mavs are up 3-2. They looked shitty in Game 6, and then I watched like the tail end of the Game 7 yesterday. It wasn't exciting. I mean, the Clippers just pulled away. I mean, Luka can't do it by himself, but so yeah. But I mean. And then I guess in other NBA news, the Blazers fired Terry Stotts, I mean, this is another move that I just don't understand from like NBA people. Like he made the playoffs every year, and they've only made the Western Conference Finals once. I get that, and you want better than that, but I don't know what bringing in a new coach is going to do. Like, if anything, it's going to make Damian Lillard worse, and he's your only chance. Like,
I'm surprised Dame stayed all this time. Like, he's been one of the more talented point guards in the league for a really long time now.
Other than Steph Curry, like, and we're talking about like real point guards, like 6'5", like and lower, like that. Other than Steph Curry, Damian Lillard is actually probably an overall better player than Steph Curry. Because Steph Curry literally can't move his feet on defense and shoots 75 threes a game. And don't let me go on that rabbit hole, so I won't. But no, I've heard that, and then Dame Lillard came out and said, "I want Jason Kidd," and because he said that, Jason Kidd pulled out of the running for the coach because he thought it would be awkward if he was like, he said it was like, I think it would be awkward if I get the coach then because the best player endorsed me, so I just pulled my name from the hat, which makes no sense. And like I said, hiring a new coach, I get it. Tibbs is an example, did an amazing job with New York this year. I don't think coaches matter all that much in the NBA. I just don't.
To a certain extent, I agree.
I'll take it back. I think coaches don't really coach. I think they just are good at dealing with so many different personalities. That's what they do. They have to keep everything together, I think.
And make sure that they're all playing the system is really what they are. Because like basketball, one of the reasons that I really don't like basketball is it's very individualistic of a sport. Like it's very like you can win games with just one player dropping 40 a game. We've seen that time and time again. You know, with the Knicks, they had Melo, and he was dropping 67, and that was good enough for them to win that game. But the coach there has to make sure everyone's playing the system and everyone sticks within the confines of their roles and doesn't get at each other's heads. So if anything, they're more of peacekeepers, which I sort of agree.
Exactly. And like in the case of the Blazers, like if you look at their roster and then like I think 3 years ago they made the Western Conference Finals, it's largely the same. Like you fired a coach who he did the best he could with what he had. I mean, when was the last time Portland signed somebody? I mean, it's like they've had Dame Lillard. I don't even know if they have a Cantor anymore.
McCollum. They still have him.
It's Dame Lillard at Cantor and McCollum, and they just haven't done anything.
And Carmelo. 37-year-old Carmelo is there too.
That's probably why they lost. I mean, Carmelo is a habitual loser. He is a habitual loser. The only thing he's ever won in his entire life is the national championship with Syracuse.
And a scoring title.
And a gold medal. But whatever. Which also brings me to not the playoffs, but I mean, what the fuck is going on in Boston? Like,
the Celtics. All I know is I saw Brad Stevens moved up for no fucking reason.
Basically, so here's the story I got. Basically, Kyrie Irving killed the Celtics. Like Kyrie Irving killed the Celtics, which I'm actually okay with. I don't love Kyrie, but if it's the Celtics, I'm fine with that. So when he stepped on the logo, I mean, this is a true story. This is from Brian Windhorst and Chris Lowe's podcast I listen to.
Oh, good.
I only listen to it. I'll tell you why I listen to it in a sec. But basically, so Danny Ainge, like he saw Kyrie step on the court and then they lost. And after the game, Danny Ainge went into the Celtics locker room to try and gather up players to go into the Nets locker room and fight Kyrie. And I guess all the players were like, yeah, whatever. And they didn't go. And then it was that moment that Danny Ainge realized he can't connect with players of this generation. And he just was done. That was it.
What?
Yeah, he's like, I don't reach players of this generation. And
are you
they were
kidding?
talking about how I swear to God. And this is from Brian Windhorst's mouth. Like Danny Ainge, like he has a name for the center of the court in Boston. He calls it Lucky.
It's Lucky. I know Lucky.
Yeah, he used to kiss it before every game, so he took it really personally. And he went to
all the Celtics players back then did. Lucky was like one of them.
that's a weird Boston thing again, but yeah, and he just went in, and the guys were like, I mean, no, dude, we're not going to go fight Kyrie and the Nets because they stepped on a logo. Like, I love that when teams do that. Like, stepping on our logo is such a disrespectful thing, and then it's in like they have the logo in the locker room or on the court, and the logo is just humongous. And you're like, oh, you can't step on it. Well, there's no way to get past half court without stepping on it. So it was weird, and then. This is really the surprising thing to me. Brad Stevens was a great college coach.
Yes.
Great. He was a mediocre NBA coach at best. And why does he have what pedigree does Brad Stevens have to be a GM of the second, probably, if not the first, most historic franchise in NBA history?
I would say it's the most historic.
Lakers. Come on.
I know, but I would still.
I would
take the Lakers for another time. I get you.
Yes,
I understand.
Yes.
I know what you're saying.
And like he just moves up, and that also brought back me to the point. He just must hate Indiana. I mean, Indiana was going to pay him like $20 million to be the head coach, and he was like, no. He must just never want to go back there.
Yeah.
And,
well, I don't know if he hates Indiana. I just don't. I think he hates IU.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what I meant. The school, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because like when you said back
state.
to Indiana, I thought you meant he hated the state of Indiana.
No, I meant IU. IU when they were going to give him however much money he wanted. Like they were going to do it, and
yeah,
I will say, being a coach and going to a GM, that's got to be awesome because instead of now coaching and dealing with all the personality, you get to sit back in your office and kind of just make deals everywhere and not hear from anyone. So props to him for that. But
I 100% thought he was going to get the Pacer job because I knew he was on the hot seat in the Celtics, and the Pacers I thought just fired their coach again. Very recently, and like it would be a marketing thing for him to come to the Pacers.
Yeah, absolutely, and but yeah, and that's also one of the other reasons I just don't think coaches matter that much. He gets fired and he gets picked up by a new team. I had no idea Ty Lue coached the Clippers. I had no idea.
Like, oh, really? I knew.
Yeah, they're basically the NBA coaches are basically a group of like 35 guys that just go in between in every single job.
Any of the five who don't have it are assistant GM until one of the spots open, and they're like top of the totem pole. It's like a sliding maneuver thing of like who can get picked up.
It's very weird. It's very weird. But I will go back to the point, like I said, why I was listening to the Windhorst Chris Lowe podcast. So you probably remember after the Cavs won the championship. Oh, shoot, I forgot a clip for Cavs Appreciation Month. Damn it. Oh, all right. Well, that's fine. So
yeah, we don't need it. It's fine.
For whatever reason, Windhorst, because the Cavs GM, Kobe Altman, earlier in that day had made a press conference and was like, the team is exactly where we want them to be. Everything's going good in the future, which is clearly just a lie. And Brian Windhorst came on the podcast and he was like, he was about to explode on him. And it brings me back to just this is why the Cavs are where they are. So when Kyrie was forcing his way out, like he was threatening to have knee surgery and not play and blah, blah, and I get that. So, and then Boston, like they needed a new signing bad. And like they had convinced, so they make the trade and Isaiah Thomas, it was first of all, horrible trade. The Cavs got fleeced in it, but not even to that point yet. So they got fleeced. Isaiah Thomas goes into the Cleveland Clinic, and the doctors tell him, like, and then the doctors tell the Cavs, like, he might not be able to play this year. Like, this injury is very, very bad, and I hate to say it, but he's never recovered from that injury. And so now you look at it like the Cavs are now like, this isn't the deal we made, like, whatever. And you have Danny Ainge in Boston, who's already been lauded for this great deal for Kyrie. He fleeced the Cavs, and I'm sure they were on pins and needles because they needed Kyrie Irving to go to that team. And so after all this news comes out, it's horrible for the Celtics because if the trade doesn't go through, now the point guard that they had that because that was when Isaiah Thomas went on that little run in the playoffs to do sweet. People were excited about him, and now you've traded him for Kyrie, which is fine. But now the trade might not go through because of his hip. And so Boston is screwed. Boston is absolutely screwed. And then so the Cavs are thinking, they're like, okay, this is bad, but you know what? So the Celtics have all these top draft picks from the Nets. They got young guys, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and they need Kyrie. Like, what should we ask for? What should we ask for? A fucking second round pick was all they asked for. And people forget about that. It's unbelievable. Like, that is incompetency at its finest. It's unbelievable. And Brian Windhorst said it, and I tend to agree with him. The Cavs might never recover from that trade for like 50 years. Because right now, the Cavs aren't going to be good for at least another 5 or 6 years probably. And just the ramifications of that, you gave away who was your franchise player, basically, other than LeBron, for literally a broken in half Isaiah Thomas, Ante Zizic, Jay Crowder, and a first-round pick that ended up being the 8th pick, which, oh, by the way, turned into Colin Sexton, who needs to get the hell out of Cleveland. So, yes, I don't know if you saw the group chat, but I was talking about it in the group chat with Bill. I usually do. Bill with it a little bit, and I was just getting remarkably angry, so I logged off. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
I can't do this anymore. I can't take it.
It was just like, I remember because I was going to write an article for just why the Cavs are where they are, why they need to get rid of Colin Sexton, and I was doing a timeline from the Cavs championship till now, and just looking at all the things that happened. Like, it could. I mean, I know you won the championship, but literally, it's like the championship. And then usually if you win the championship, you fall peg by peg by peg by peg, kind of back down to the bottom. It was just a free fall straight to the bottom for the Cavs. It was unbelievable. Kobe Altman needs to leave. They need to stop hiring stupid coaches. Maybe go hire one of the coaches that is around the league. Go hire Tibbs. I don't care. But
no, he's with the Knicks.
Which also does I'll get off the Cavs and on to the Knicks. Like I said, Tibbs did a great job this year, but let's be real about the Knicks. It's a flawed roster. They are going to need to – I mean, they had a mixture of 1-year deal guys and things like that. And like I said, Tibbs did great, and Julius Randle looked good this year. I don't think Julius Randle is really that good. I think he's probably a top 10 power forward in the NBA, probably top 6, I would say. But he can't carry a team. He needs help.
I think he carried the team to the 4 seed, and he just the matchup was really bad for him because not only is he kind of undersized playing center, because he really is a center the way that they were using him. He's undersized, but then you're going up against Clint Capella, who blocks literally one every 4 or 5 shots. And when he's covering your main scorer, it's not going to end well for the Knicks. So they do need another star or two to balance out and have a more diverse roster so that when he's not able to carry the team, they can rely on the other guys. So the Knicks have a lot of younger guys on their team. Like RJ Barrett could potentially turn into something. I don't really believe Obi Toppin will. I didn't like that pick, but
I believe in Obi Toppin. I believe in Obi Toppin way more than I believe in RJ Barrett.
Yeah. I mean,
RJ Barrett is an above average defender. I'll give him that. Other than that, he's a good player. I hate him a lot because he went to Duke. But he just seems like he has no flow to his game. It's like he just pulls up sometimes. Yeah.
Well, and I have to say it was so much fun to see the highlights of the D Rose clips from when he was the one that was trying to carry the team through the playoffs. Didn't he average 25 a game in the series or something like that?
I think he had over 30 in 1 or 2 games. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that also brings it kind of back. I mean, Derrick Rose is
31.
I mean, I hope that his knees keep up and he's okay for the next couple of years. But you got to think, as a fan, one of these days he's going to get hurt.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
time.
it's impossible for him not to.
It sucks
And
that Frank Ntilikina sucks because, like, if he was an actual point guard and could take some of the pressure off, it would be nice.
I agree. And well, the good thing about the Knicks is, I mean, I don't know what salary cap space they have. I'm sure they could clear it if they
Probably
wanted
a
to.
lot.
Yeah, like I said, and so I mean, New York is a lure. I just don't know. Like all the young stars now, I feel like are kind of locked into their teams for the most part. Like, so I don't know. But and then the other problem with Randall is if you look at the East, who you're going to have to go through to get to the finals if you want to get there. You got to go through Joel Embiid. I mean, you got to go through like big tough guys. So Clint Capella, like you said, like. He would be a perfect number 2 option to a point guard like Trae Young. I mean, Trae Young and Julius Randle would be Lob City and 3-point City all day. They would probably score 50 a game each. But
just so you know, the Knicks have practical. I don't know what the difference is between the total cap space, the cap space, and the practical cap space.
Just tell me. I would say we go with the practical one because that's practical.
All right. Then, according to that, the Knicks have $67 million in cap space, practical cap space. But when you look at cap space, it says minus 12 or minus 9 million. But somehow that's the 6th best in the league.
So, I mean, let's just go out there and say it. They have cap space.
They have a lot. Well, and Miami's number 1 on this list, and they have minus 1.3 million in cap space. So if the Knicks are 6 with minus 9, that's not too bad. And then you look at who's the absolute worst. The Houston Rockets have minus 75 million in cap space. The Knicks have money to spend.
Yeah, and as you bring up Houston, like it almost brings me back to the point why I stopped liking the NBA. I mean, that's what happens. I mean, this is what happened to these cities. Basically, is a star player gets up, forces his way out of town, and then you suck for the next 12 years. So it's the NBA. I've enjoyed the playoffs actually more than I ever thought I was going to, basically because I just like Trae Young. But other than that, that's pretty much it on the basketball side. But in other basketball news, I think I called this about, I don't know, a week after Roy Williams retired, probably earlier.
I think
Coach K is retiring. I don't know where to start with it. Like, first of all, like, I'm perplexed. I don't know where to start. Coach K is a great coach. He's a bitch and a whiner and a rat and a weasel. He's probably, other than John Wooden, he's probably the best coach in college basketball history. Maybe Dean Smith, but and the fact that he's doing well. Before the retirement came out, there was a rumor going around that I don't know if it was a rumor. There was things being said that Coach K was going to go on a 2-year retirement tour because they have unbalanced scheduling in the ACC, so he wouldn't be able to go to every arena. And I mean, I almost wish that would have happened because, I mean, I would have rented a car and just fallen into every arena. I'm just heckling him. I hate him so much. But it also brings me to a point that, like, I think giving John Shire, one of the most hateable Duke people of all time. I mean, literally look at his face. I'm positive that I could literally beat him within an inch of his life if I wanted to. He looks like a little girl. But they made the right move. John Shire knows who to pay, when to pay him, how to pay him, and don't give me this bullshit that he doesn't do it. It's a private university. You can't FOIA them. Everyone pays players. North Carolina pays players. Let's get it over with. And I think we both talked about this with Williams and Coach K retiring. I wrote it in one of my pieces earlier. The college basketball landscape in the next 5 years is going to change more than in the previous 50 years. So I don't think Coach K is going to be the last one to go. I could see, I mean, Calipari will never get out because this is like his wet dream. But like Bill Self might want to get out. Just some of these old time Boeheim, I'm sure probably wants nothing. He just got his other son to Syracuse this summer from Cornell in the transfer portal. But I can't see a guy like him ever wanting to deal with that. So I do think that, like I said, college basketball will change in the next 5 years more than it did in the past 50. But I guess I have to say Coach K was a good coach, but I don't really care. He's still number one enemy in my book. But more of what I was saying, they made the right choice going with Shire. Like I said, he knows the program. Not jokingly, he knows how to when and who to pay people, but he just knows the program. He knows how to recruit. He was the lead recruiter for the number 3 prospect this year that they got. So he knows what to do, and that brings me to the point where I'm very scared for North Carolina basketball's future. I don't think Hubert Davis – I don't think he should make it to the season. He can't be the coach. They've signed nobody. They don't have a good recruiting class coming in. They're 2 big men. Garrison Brooks, who was a redshirt senior, had Roy Williams would have stayed, he would have stayed as well for his 5th year and probably been at least first-team All-ACC as a center. He left. Walker Kessler left. 7th Woods left a couple of years ago. They're just not – it's not trending in the right direction for North Carolina. And unfortunately, college basketball is becoming a young man's game to coach. It is. I mean, they understand the players. They understand what they want. And I mean, and like I said, I think a lot of coaches are going to want out eventually, but North Carolina is in trouble. I think they're really, really, really in trouble. Next year, like if they don't meet, if they don't make the tournament next year, you have to get rid of Hubert Davis right away. They should have went with Wes Miller, who is now the Cincinnati head coach. But so I'm very scared for that. And the last thing I'll say about Coach Krzyzewski, it's first of all, there's 2 things. If Mike Krzyzewski if Duke goes 1-31 this year, they will make the tournament. I guarantee it. There's no way. If Duke is anywhere even close to the bubble, there's no way the committee is keeping Coach K out of his final year, A. And B, as a freshman, if you're going there, I know this number 3 overall kid, he's probably pretty good. It's got to suck to go to Duke this year if you're a freshman. You have to win it all or you're a failure. Basically. It's Coach K's last year. You got to win it all. And if you don't, Coach K is, I don't know, he's probably going to write a book and say that you sucked and stuff. So I don't know. But you have to win that.
And stuff.
Let's also not forget 2 things about Coach K. In I believe it was one of the early 2000s season, Duke was started out 3-5. He had an abrupt health issue, so he took a leave of absence for 20 games, came back. Duke was horrible. And unlike every single other school, those losses, they don't go on Coach K's record. They go on the interim coaches. And at every other school, they go on the regular coach's record. So, A, that's, unbelievable. B, in 2009, the Duke student newspaper wrote an article judging how Duke had played. They gave him a C or a B on how they had played so far in the year. Coach K called the entire paper to come to dinner with him and the team, and he basically cussed them out. Not kidding. He basically said, I don't want fluff pieces, but you guys don't know shit and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Word for word is what he said. And then he came out and apologized just for swearing, not the other thing about bringing in the paper. And let's also not forget, as recently as 2017 when Duke was knocked out by Oregon in the NCAA tournament. Dylan Brooks, who had a great tournament, was scoring at the end, piling on Duke. Awesome, great, love it. Coach K stops him in a handshake line, and you're too good. You're too good to be showboating out there, son. Shut up, Coach K. Jesus Christ. I hate that man so much. So we're going to go to the NFL.
I could tell.
We're going to go to the NFL.
Oh, man.
I'm almost happy he's retiring, but at the same time, you're not going to want to talk to me during college basketball season because I am going to be betting against Duke every game. I will build props that are negative to Duke. And I don't care if I lose. I just want people to know that they suck. So into the NFL, obviously, Julio Jones. Well, you know what? You're the NFL guy. Go ahead.
Well, just Julio Jones, as everyone probably saw from yesterday's news, got traded to the Tennessee Titans. What was the overall deal? I didn't have too much.
I think it was a second and then a sixth.
I think it was a second and a fourth for Julio and a sixth or something like that. Yeah, all I know is they basically flipped late round picks and they traded Julio for a second. Everyone seems to have their own opinion on who won and who lost this trade. I am under the impression that it's a win-win because,
I mean, Julio, get what you can for him. Like Julio is going to walk, so
probably. Well, maybe, I don't know. It depends on how much they utilize him. A lot of people are saying that because it's a run-heavy offense, they're not going to use Julio, and that's why Julio's a loser in this trade. But I could see him and AJ Brown becoming a really solid duo and seeing Ryan Tannehill run a lot more play action passes because everyone's going to be trying to stop Derrick Henry after running for 2,000 yards.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I have a couple things to say. It blows my mind in the NFL all the time when these trades happen and it ends up being like a second and like a 6th round pick. I don't understand why the Browns just don't trade away all their draft picks for superstars. It makes no sense to me. Like, what are the chances that you get a guy that's even half as good as Julio Jones was in the NFL in the 2nd round? Very slim. Like, the NBA picks, I get it. They're different. You want the lottery picks. NFL, I think pass. I mean, obviously, I would say the first 3 rounds, you kind of know what you're doing. And then 4 through 7 is just kind of, whatever, who's there. Let's pick them up. I have no idea why, and this is why I'm all in on Sean McVay. He got it right. Like, just trade. Like, let's be honest. I don't care what they traded for Jalen Ramsey. You're not going to draft a corner as good as Jalen Ramsey. So it doesn't make sense. And the only way is, I guess, I understand it a little bit from the Falcons because Julio, I have, no matter what, he was going to walk, in my opinion. So they got what they could. But for the Jaguars to trade Jalen Ramsey for makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense. And considering that you don't even know you don't even know if that pick's going to be in the top 10, top 15, 32nd. Like, it blows my mind that these trades happen. I believe the Titans over-under was at 9 before their trade. Now it must have been 9.5 the whole entire time. I don't know what we picked. I think I have it written down over there. I don't think we did them yet, so I'm not worried about it. AJ Brown just posted on his Instagram that he should be commissioned for it. AJ Brown, shut up, dude. Like, I actually tend to agree. I don't understand the adding of the wide receiver there. Like, I get the play action, and I get Ryan Tannehill has been really good. I understand that. And like I said earlier before the show, I was watching whatever it was, The Jump, and basically there was 4 panelists. It was Ryan Clark, Dominique Foxworth, Greeny, and someone else. And who's the biggest threat to the Chiefs in the AFC? And one of them said the Browns. He was smart. He understands life. One of them said the Bills, who I'm not souring on, but I don't know if Josh Allen is as good as we think he is. So, but I still think the Bills are a very good team. The way they've constructed their roster is incredible. But
yes,
there were 2 of them that picked the Titans. They added, they can score, sure. They can't get off the field on 3rd down.
Yeah,
and let's be realistic. Okay, say the Chiefs are who you have to get through. You will not outscore the Chiefs. Ryan Tannehill, Patrick Mahomes is better left-handed than Ryan Tannehill is. I get the want to add him, and I get the excitement. I wish the Browns would have added him. I would have traded the rest of my second-round picks for 3 years away for him. Who cares? But
go ahead.
I don't know what I was saying.
I was just going to say the whole reason that they went out and got Julio was because if you look at the roster and the wide receiver room outside of A.J. Brown, I couldn't even tell you who it was because they lost Corey Davis to the Jets, who was supposed to be that second-hand man to to A.J. Brown being the number one. He was supposed to be that guy.
Speaking of that, Corey Davis, I like the Jets. I think they're going to be good in 2 or 3 years. Going to the Jets was a horrible decision for him.
Horrible decision after a breakout year. He should have gone to the Chiefs. I thought he was going to go there.
Absolutely no idea why. I mean, I know why they paid him a lot of money, but go on.
True. But so there goes their number 2 guy on the depth chart. Khalif Raymond, who was a 5'8" receiver that was really like fast, whatever. He got cut, I'm pretty sure. And now he's on the Lions. And then they were playing with 4th, 5th, and 6th string receivers and A.J. Brown. So they went out and got Julio to be another 1A so that they can just build their offense around those 3 guys between Julio, A.J. Brown, and Derrick Henry.
I agree, but I agree partially. But they did it the more expensive way. I don't like. You should have just re-signed Corey Davis, who would have. I mean, granted, you're gonna have to pay Julio. They do have to pay Julio's contract this year, correct?
He's set to make $11.513 million in each of the final 2 years of the deal.
So, I mean, it's just like I bet you could have signed Corey Davis, and then instead of using that draft capital, which once again I'll say I don't know why they don't use more of it, use that draft capital to get better on the defense. No offense, I don't care how good Derrick Henry is. We've seen him. Once it gets to the playoffs, he's not the same guy. I mean, when you run a guy like that, Derrick Henry is going to be he's going to have the best career of anyone running back probably ever, but he's only going to be good for 3 or 4 more years because his legs can't take it. So, and then Ryan Tannehill, like I said, he's been good. But he's got 1 or 2 more years left in him. And the defense, you can build around young players. I don't like bringing it all the way back to the Browns, but I mean, I like what the Browns did this offseason. I really like it. I think it was smart what they did. And this, from the Tennessee Titans, seems like a thing that the old Browns would do. Our defense gave up 75 points a game last year. Let's go trade for a receiver. It just doesn't make sense to me because, like I said, they're still not going to outscore the Patriots. Or not the Patriots, the Chiefs. Everyone should outscore the Patriots. But let's be honest. In my opinion, Cleveland, the Browns' offense is still way better than the Titans' offense. I would rather have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt rather than Derrick Henry. I would rather have Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, and Austin Hooper, and Rashard Higgins over their group of wide receivers. And our offensive line is the best in football. So, and that's why I was watching that get up. I was like, I just don't get it. What do you mean? The Titans played the Browns last year, and they tried to score with them. They couldn't. And the Browns weren't as good as they're going to be this year. The Browns scored 28 points on them in the first quarter last year. Or 21, I think, because 28 was versus the Steelers. Running the ball, you're not going to outscore people. So
that's why they went out and got Julio. That would be the argument. But I don't think they're going to win that with Ryan Tannehill, even though he has been playing good.
And then also, I mean, you have probably physically, I mean, Najee Harris will surpass him at some point. And then some other Alabama running back will surpass him at some point, obviously.
Circle of Alabama.
It's just going to come. If you don't run Derrick Henry 20, 30 times a game, you're misusing Derrick Henry. The other part of Derrick Henry that also really doesn't fit in with this scheme I'm kind of seeing the Titans form he can't catch the ball in the backfield.
Well, he's been getting better. They've been utilizing him more and more because he's slowly been. That's like the thing he's been working on. He's not like there is no more room for him to grow running the ball. So he's been focusing solely on catching the ball, and he has been getting better at it.
We don't have to talk about it. It just to see people's reaction to it. It's like, first of all, Julio Jones is good. Let's be honest, though. He's on the down part of his career. He's going to be 32 or 31, 31 or 32 by the time the season starts. Like, and I guess I get it because Tennessee is one of those teams I think that their championship window is not as open as people think. But like just the fact that they absolutely what you said in the text last night kind of makes sense to me is like Vrabel doesn't really know the offense, so he's just kind of playing games with it.
He basically what I had texted Justin last night was since Vrabel is a defensive guy, he's beefing up the offense so that it can't possibly fail, so that he can rebuild the defense to his liking. And that's a strategy that we've seen a lot of coaches and a lot of GMs do, but it doesn't always work. It only works in very select situations. The Titans won 11 games last year. They shouldn't have been messing with their team too much, but instead they cut a lot of their players because they're in cap hell.
If anything, they should have been I'm not going to scream it because they should have improved the defense. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, they lost. Granted, Adoree Jackson wasn't the best corner. Who's going to play corner for the Titans this year?
Didn't they sign someone?
I have no idea. I mean, I don't think they signed anyone defensively, and I literally mean anyone.
Let me look. You can keep talking while I pull it up.
I don't really have much more than that. Like I said, I'm just surprised that, and also by adding Julio Jones and saying you're going to do the play action, you're compromising the thing on offense that has worked for the past 2 years.
Oh, so, they got Janoris Jenkins and Bud Dupree, and then they also got Kevin Johnson.
They made Bud Dupree the highest paid linebacker in the NFL. That was smart. That was really smart. The 28-year-old who only really had stats on the Steelers because he played with T.J. Watt, Cameron Hayward, and Calais Campbell. So,
right.
Actually, Janoris Jenkins got his Rolls Royce stolen from the Tennessee airport.
Wait, Davis Mills went to the Titans? I thought he went to the Texans.
He went to the Texans.
Yeah, why is he on the What is this, ESPN? You're wrong.
Oh, yeah. I mean, sometimes they are. They are.
They also have Kevin Johnson on the reserve and retired list.
He's retired. I swear to God, he is.
Sure. All right, let's look and see who they have at their cornerback positions because I'm sure it's nothing.
I mean, Janoris has to. I would think
old.
He would play. I think he would play slot. I don't know
though. Let's see. They have Breon Borders.
I've never heard of him in my entire life.
Cruikshank, Caleb Farley, Christian Fulton, Chris Jackson, Janoris Jenkins, Kevin Johnson, and Chris Jones. And then
Kevin Johnson is retired.
Oh, and Elijah Molden.
Which okay, but then
yeah, they're relying a lot on those rookies. That's their rookies are their 1 and 2.
Basically, they're 3. I mean, and I like him
last year too. I like Fulton.
I like Fulton too. I always drafted him in Madden, except he's only rated like 70, so I drafted him like the 49th round. But anyway, to LSU, so I like him. But yeah, you look at them. I mean, there are 3 corners. I assume are going to be Molden in the slot / playing safety when he can, and then Janoris Jenkins and Caleb Farley both out wide. And let's be honest, we don't know if Caleb Farley is going to be able to play a full season. So I mean, everything seems fine, but once training camp kicks around, so
same thing with Fulton though. He didn't play all last year, I don't think.
Yeah, so I just don't like leveraging your whole future on. It's not your whole future because I see. This is where I get like caught up in it because like it was a good trade. They got Julio Jones. Like they got him for a 2nd round pick basically. but I just don't see how it really changes them that much. I guess it makes them a little bit more dynamic. But
adds another aspect of what people need to think of on defense when they're playing them to get pressure off of Derrick Henry. But the more you run Derrick Henry, the more your window to win shortens.
exactly.
If anything, you should be taking
takes
pressure off him and putting it more onto the receivers. Because if you truly think Tannehill is going to be the answer, and he has been playing well, I will give him that. If you're going to say, yeah, he's going to be the guy that's going to win us a championship, you can't keep running Derrick Henry into the ground. That was fine when you had Marcus Mariota because you didn't believe in him, and that's fine. You know, there was reason to not believe in him. But now that you believe in Tannehill, let the guy run a normal offense. Stop doing the run heavy. Switch it over to a West Coast, right, where you're still running a lot, but you're doing a lot more passing in the short game. Because A.J. Brown is a monster after he gets the ball. He's a after-the-catch kind of guy. Then you could throw a deep ball here and there to Julio because he will go up and catch it still. Even though he's old and on the back nine, he can still go get those balls.
He's still a top 10 wide receiver, I think.
Easily. Right? So switch up the gameplay a little bit more now, and instead of shortening it with all of these run-heavy, we're going to go for 2,000 yards, and now he has an extra game. Now we're going to go for 2,100. We're going for Dickerson's record. Instead of doing this, expand it. Make it so that you guys could actually win 2 or 3 Super Bowls before he's done.
Well, I mean, that's not going to happen.
Probably not. That's what you would think.
First of all, I mean, it's not going to happen because, A, you have Patrick Mahomes. You know, I'm not going to get into it. It's more Browns. I do have some Browns news, not really. They signed Usa Cormoa to his rookie deal. I believe Newsome and Schwartz are the only two who haven't signed their rookie deals yet. The veterans are not going to the offensive veterans won't be at OTAs this week. Baker's holding a passing camp in Austin. I guess he flew out with Jarvis, Odell Beckham, David Njoku, all flew out there. So they made a deal with coaches, kind of like, we're going to do passing camp, but we're not coming to OTAs, which is fine with me. It is going to be interesting in the future because J.C. Tretter is the NFLPA, and this was kind of his thing to, die. He was going to die on this hill. I like J.C. Tretter, and I'm always for players' rights for most part, but I don't need J.C. Tretter's politics boiling over into Sundays. So, yeah. And anything else from the NFL? There was a huge article. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is living his best life.
He's unsure if he's going to minicamp, but Devontae Adams is expected. I saw that this morning.
I mean, they're not going to trade him, and at this point, I'm just rooting for him not to play.
I don't care one way or another. I don't like Aaron Rodgers.
But what I was saying, there was a big article somewhere I was reading that the Ravens are going to have this brand new offense this year. You know what they're going to do? They're going to have Lamar Jackson throw to receivers. I'm not kidding. It was like a 5-page article about how they were going to put Lamar Jackson under center more this year, which absolutely stupid. The guy hasn't played for under center in his entire life. Why do it 2 years into the NFL? Makes no sense. And especially if you want to improve his passing, having him take dropbacks, not going to help him. He already has terrible motion. I honestly feel bad for Lamar Jackson at this point. I mean, he's got what's his face, the kid from Minnesota who's a big guy, whatever. It doesn't matter. Ravens, you suck. Get used to it. John Harbaugh, goodbye. It's gonna be the Browns and Bengals going forward. So that's good.
It's gonna be the Browns and Bengals. Who would have thought?
All right, now to what I really want to talk about. What a match last night. I know you guys don't like soccer. A lot of people don't like soccer. Last night, you should check out the highlights. I have some up here, but you should just check out the highlights of the game. That is why you watch soccer. And I'm not kidding when I say it was one of the best sporting events I've seen in the last 5 years. Mexico, USA, it was like for a trophy, so it was a competitive match. They hadn't beaten Mexico in 5 years in a competitive match. And then basically They come out. There's basically it's the U.S. team. They have all this promise. These young guys. Chris Pulisic became first American ever to win the Champions League. He's had an insane 2 weeks of partying. I mean, Jesus. They have all these young guys. Claudio Reyna is the dad. Gio Reyna, Josh Sargent, Weston McKennie, who plays for Juventus. Cristiano Ronaldo calls him the Texas boy. And Sergino Dest, who looked horrible last night, but he's been killing it for Barcelona. So I put out I don't know if it was an article or just kind of a PSA. Like, this is a must-win game for the United States. They needed to win because our credibility is already very bad after not qualifying for the last World Cup and then also not qualifying for the Olympics. And, of course, 2 minutes into the game, or not even 2 minutes into the game, this happens. I'm trying to pull it up.
Sure. There it was.
Out nicely by Brooks.
So 50 seconds into the match.
Corona getting his first touches in this competition in this Final Four.
Terrible pass.
That's given away. It's Corona looking for the angle. It's a dream start.
Yeah, so they score within, under 2 minutes. I cracked my phone 3 more times, throwing it around my room. I was not happy. I started just rattling off tweets about bad things. And then Mexico scores again in the 29th, 28th, 27th, maybe 25th minute. But they go to VAR. You know what VAR is, right? It's like replay for soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they go to VAR. The ref calls the guy offside. Awesome, great. So it's still 1-0. United States catches a break. And then literally about 1 minute later, this happens. When I can pull it up. There we go. Gio Reyna, he plays for Borussia Dortmund in Germany. Big club.
Champions League final, the first American to play and win. It's an outswinger toward the penalty spot off the woodwork. Reyna! And the U.S. double!
So he scores. Pretty lucky. I mean, not lucky. It is skill in soccer just to kind of be a poacher. But whatever.
Justin did the thing. Yeah, no, I personally did not watch the game last night, but I was getting the minute updates. Justin did the thing. You still there? There you go.
I was looking. I pressed the message and it just kicked me out. I don't know why.
That's weird.
But so that happens, and then they go into the halftime 1-1. It's pretty good. Everything's good. Then Mexico comes out and they score in about the 80th minute. So I, of course, freaked out and said it's over and started throwing things. And the U.S. would score on a header about 2 minutes later. Game ends tied 2-2. They go to extra time. And the first period of extra time was only 15 minutes. Still tied 0-0. And then they go into the second 15 minutes of extra time. And Christian Pulisic, basically the face of U.S. soccer for the past, forever. But he draws a penalty, and it was crazy, and this is it. Oh, the Spanish call, by the way, awesome. Watched half of it in Spanish.
Nice.
So it's in the 114th minute out of 120.
Well, I love the rolling of the R's.
Oh, wait till the goal.
But they still have 7 minutes to play.
It's different in soccer. It was a huge – well, honestly, that's very good of you to say. But so that happens, and before I get into what happens next, I don't know if you saw it in that clip, but obviously Christian Pulisic scores, takes off his shirt, he goes to the corner. It's all the Mexican fans. He starts shushing them, whatever. They then decide to start throwing batteries, full beer bottles, and I say what you want to about American soccer. It's not the best, but we are the only country that plays soccer that doesn't have racist chants and homophobic chants every single game. The Mexican fans are disgusting and ruthless. And this has nothing to do with people that live in Mexico or anything like that. They are disgusting and ruthless. They are known, first of all, I mean, they threw all that stuff during the game last night. The guy who scored the first goal that I showed you got hit in the eye with a battery, got cut. He was already out of the game, so it was fine. They started throwing things later on in the match, or about 5 minutes later. They hit their own players in the head with stuff. They're disgusting. They're idiots. I mean, it was horrible. And then the worst thing is FIFA hasn't put up this new protocol basically that racist chants and homophobic chants, they stop the game, give out a PSA, and no more. They're going to end the game basically. So what Mexican fans have been known to do, every time the goalkeeper does a goal kick, they say puto, which you think means you think it means something in Spanish, like a regular thing, but what it really means is something like really homophobic and things like that. And I said,
thought it was the F word.
No, it's I think it's FA word maybe. So they're horrible, they're disgusting, and it would not surprise me. They're obviously going to play them in qualifiers. But I mean, so when Mexico has a home game, they'll play at Estadio Azteca in Mexico. It's a great stadium. The fans are going to be ruthless, whatever. But when the U.S. has home games, I'll tell you right now, they need to not play anywhere near the border. I don't want them to play in Texas. I don't want them to play in California. I don't want them to play anywhere near. Has to be above, either in the Northeast. I'm talking MetLife Stadium. I'm talking Columbus Crew Arena. I'm talking Seattle, Washington.
Play in the Red Bull Stadium.
Yeah, they played in MetLife before too. So get them the hell away from Mexico. I mean, they're like I said, I'm not coming. I don't want to come off as that kind of guy. Their fans are disgusting, and they need to be out of the game. And it happened all night last night, and they had stopped the game multiple times. It sucked because it was such a great game. Okay, so yes, you said there's 7 minutes left. Yes, there was. Mexico gets a penalty, and basically the last minute of the game, accidental handball. And the U.S. goalkeeper, usually Zach Steffen, plays for Manchester City. Great team. He doesn't play a lot for them. He's a reserve guy. But he's been the number one guy for the U.S. since Tim Howard left. So he gets hurt in the 69th minute, hurts his knee, has to come out. And it's not like a regular substitution. Coming in as a goalie off the bench, if you're on the bench and you're a goalie, you're not going in the game. You're not getting subbed in. So they bring in this guy. I mean, he's the funniest looking dude. He's 6'4". He's from Colorado. Basically, the first shot that he sees goes in the net, and Mexico takes the lead. And then this was obviously earlier in the game, and then U.S. tied it and went to extra time, whatever. So Mexico gets the free kick, the penalty kick, and I mean, this is kind of the stuff that you write stories about. It was crazy. So pull that up real quick, and I'll finish up. But yeah, Ethan Horvath. I mean, just incredible. I mean, this was insane, and it.
Guardado for Mexico in this final. Horvath stopped it. One of the all-time great moments for the U.S. if they could see it out. A heroic lift to the trophy at the end of the night.
Did you talk about how the U.S. got to 3 goals?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, the Christian Pulisic goal got them 3.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That was in the extra time. And then so
I was watching the clip and it still said 2-2, so I thought that they changed it to tie it, and that's what it was. And okay. So that was for 3-2.
Yeah, that would have been for 3-3.
Yeah, that one would have been for 3-3, but the free kick that you showed us were for 3-2. Okay.
And like I said, coming in
that's
as a
why
sub,
I was like, why is he taking his shirt off if they're just tied now and there's 7 minutes left?
That happened before the save.
That's what I'm saying. Like it was 2-2, and then he hit the free kick and he took his shirt off. And I thought, because like I thought it was 1-2 and it went to 2-2. I'm like, oh, why is he taking his shirt off?
Oh, yeah,
7 minutes left. They could still win. But it's because he took his shirt off because they were up that. Okay, see, I missed that. The guy didn't switch the score right away, and it confused me.
Sorry, I was trying to find clips because
no, it's fine. I just want to know. I just want to be there. I want to be in the moment.
You go on YouTube and you find you search for something and then you click on it thinking it'll be a clip of it, and then it's this guy talking about the game himself. So I had to find a clip, but basically, penalties are nowadays some of the hardest things in the world to save. He stops it, and it was just a fairy tale. I know that you don't know a lot about soccer, but the U.S.-Mexico rivalry has been one-sided for a while. It's always been one-sided.
It's been like the Jets-Patriots rivalry.
Yeah, it's a bitter rivalry. They hate each other. And this young American team last night, they didn't take shit from any of those Mexican players. There were a couple of times I thought that the United States players should have been red carded and sent off because of the hits they made and the tackles. But they ended up winning. They get to lift the trophy. This is the biggest moment in U.S. soccer. Last night was the biggest moment in U.S. soccer, probably since Landon Donovan hit his goal in the 2010 World Cup. It was incredible. Like I said, anyone out there, if you didn't see it, didn't watch it, look up the highlights. It was in Colorado at Mile High. That's why you watch soccer, because I know 95% of the time the games are boring. I still like it no matter what, because when the goal happens, it's the most exciting thing in the world. Yesterday was back and forth. It was, you couldn't, as someone who that's the exact type of game I would show to someone who says, I don't like soccer. I don't watch it. It's slow, because it was insane. It was a big rivalry, and the U.S. got a huge win. So I'm really happy for them, and really, really just, we're no longer the worst team in the world for right now. So that's good. But yeah, other than the Mexican fans needing to get the hell out, that's about it. But it was an awesome night. I tried to go to bed. It didn't end until about 1 a.m. I tried to go to bed. I was way too excited. So, but I eventually did fall asleep, but whatever. We're not going to do the, maybe next time we'll do the, we're going to pick some people, see who survived the Hunger Games. So yeah. Whatever. I seriously think that's a good idea, but whatever.
Are we gonna get back on the train of talking about Adam Morrison every episode?
We haven't talked about Adam Morrison at all. Okay. When did we talk about Adam Morrison?
You were telling me about your phone call.
Oh, the drunken one?
Yeah.
That wasn't to Adam Morrison. That was Kelly Olynyk.
That was to Kelly Olynyk?
Yeah, he went to Gonzaga.
Whatever. All of those tall, long-haired guys from
the same from Australia. Yeah,
Luis Scola too. Like they're just
Luis Scola is from Spain.
I know he didn't go. I know. I'm just saying I confuse him and Adam Morrison all the time.
All right, we have to end with that, because they could not look more different if they tried. That's insane. But
mainly because of 2K though, because that's I used to get them both as my two backup power forwards, but I never knew which one was in because it's 2K. They all look like everyone with long hair kind of looks the same. You know what I mean?
Like I said, Tom, it's good to have you back. I did one with my brother last week. I'm probably not going to put it up. I might put it on the Anchor if people want to listen to it. It was good. It wasn't better than ours, wasn't necessarily worse, but it doesn't really matter. I just needed something to do because you were working. I do have some picks to give out. Suns, Nuggets game 1, Suns, I like a -5. And then I doubt this is still a 29.5 because it was going up as I was doing it. Devin Booker over 29.5 points tonight. He is a beast, and he's been playing really well. And apparently, he's God because he's broken the Kardashian-Jenner curse, basically. So
let's not count our eggs before they're in the basket.
They beat the Lakers. I think they're going to be happy no matter what.
That's fair.
Yeah, get out of here. And then Hawks +5 tomorrow. And then for Trae Young, I haven't looked at it. I don't have him up yet for point totals. If it's under 35, then I would only take it, but I'd take the over. But so, like I said, Tom, good having you back.
good to
Any
be
last
back.
words?
We're ready for Wednesday. Will be my next one. We're gonna probably the way that my work schedule is going until the end of the month. We're gonna have to do Mondays and Wednesdays around the same time of 4:00, if that's okay.
Yeah. As long as it's not Thursday. We
Yeah,
can talk
no.
about this afterwards. We can talk about this afterwards.
Sure.
All right. That's it.
Let's go, Dogs, baby.